Hello, and welcome to the Quantum Bridge. We haven't done a recording for a little while, not that anybody would know that because we upload so much stuff. But so if we're a bit rusty, not least because we might involve some water in what we're talking about today, please forgive us. We are lucky enough to be joined again by Cassie, and I'm going to pass across to Gary to say hello properly and do the introductions. But good to see you, Cassie, and over to Gary.
Nice to see you again. Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. I mean, again, the audience won't know. It's been a while since we've done a video with Cassie, to be honest. You probably see from the first one, I've probably aged about 10 years. But if you look back. But anyway, before we start, I'm going to take a quick drink. I think it's,
Hey, have a trouble.
What's this you're asking, aren't you, Casper? This is it.
I would ask if I could see it. Thank you. Yes, what's that? That looks interesting.
There we go. Yeah. Well, I think Cassie's going to tell us all about it. So we'll hand it over to Cassie.
Okay, brilliant.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having us again. So the topic of water, we are going to cover a lot today. So we're just going to head right into it, eh?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, here we go. So we're talking about shungite and water. So these are the kind of just overview of shungite. And what we have are the black shungites and the elite shungites. So we're going to be playing with those today.
Excellent.
And answering some of the common questions I get asked about shungite and water because it's such an important topic for people. There's just the overview of where shungite comes from, which is that little red dot there. And it is just on the surface and 9 layers down into the earth. So it's a phenomenal mineraloid, not a crystal. So it has huge amounts of healing properties as well. But let's just start talking about the water aspect, actually. Okay, let's just move on to a slide. Here we are, the toggles. Right, so what shungite's doing is it is breaking apart the chemicals because the chemical molecules spin the opposite way to nature. That was also discovered by Khrushchev, who I happened to read about 20 years ago in a bizarre book. He was doing experiments in the direction of spin. So this is the direction of spin. Everything in nature spins to the right, and everything going against nature spins to the left. So this is where the shungite energy is coming out of the stones at such a rate, 20 billion times a second, that the chemicals are breaking apart. Now, that's quite a tricky thing to capture if you don't know that that's what you're trying to capture. So there are kind of documents out there that are misrepresenting what shungite's doing because they literally don't know what they're capturing on their data. And it looks like the molecule count is going up, but actually the effect of the shungite has done its work already and the molecule's been broken apart. And we've managed to capture that. I'm going to share that with you today. So actually, while we're on the topic of toggles, I'm going to read from Nancy's book here, because this is what inspired the toggle making. This is Nancy's book. Here we are.
Okay, yeah.
She was the Wi-Fi weapons expert of the US military, and this is how we found out about shungite. And so what she was saying was about when people got her stickers, they could put them on the water pipes and it purified the water. Well, obviously we made our stickers based on her recipe as well. Everything that we do, we always recognize her work in this field. And so someone wrote into her, and they wrote to us as well. And they said, "Dear Nancy, when you talk about putting shungite nuggets on water pipes, well, I put one Orifim shungite sticker on my cold water pipe. And like you said, no chlorine smell, softer water and better suds in the washing machine and washing pots." So that was really proving to us that the shungite stones don't necessarily have to go in the water or even be with the water very long. If you think about how quickly that water is passing through the pipes, it's not even touching and it's doing a job. So that's where we set to making toggles. So I have one on my glass here, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because we couldn't get the stones on the garden hose or up the tap. So it was like how to devise something that had a band. So I was actually out, I hadn't told Rich what I was up to. And I got the molds and I got the shungite and the resin and the hair bands. And I put them together and he came out and he said, "Oh, you're making hair bubbles." And I said, "No, but I suppose they could be."
Mm, yeah.
And so people do even use them in their hair and on the wrist and all sorts. So they're very, very versatile. But for the water, this was key. So let's just move on. We'll come back to that slide actually. So this is about the molecular bonds breaking down. And so what we've managed to capture, if I go on to the next slide, here we are. What we've captured here is we bought some analysis equipment earlier this year. And with the chemical reagents, when you add them to the water, so we use tap water, Doncaster tap water, never been near any shungite, and the water goes yellow, as you can see in that picture there. Now, with the toggle, all the stones that had touched the water, these samples were crystal clear for 5 days. Now, as we're not very scientific, we went and had a cup of tea, you see. We didn't throw the experiment away straight away. Went and had a cup of tea, and that's when these colours developed. And so what I did was I watched this, well, I put them on the window somewhere, and over the next 10 days, I watched what happened. And at the 5-day mark, the shungite samples started to turn yellow, but essentially they were crystal clear for 5 days. And so what we've captured is that quantum activity. So we've done the same thing with the fluoride, and I've actually run the test again last night, so I can actually no, I did these this morning, so I can show you them in real life. Here we are. So you can see there's a range of reds there. Yeah. So I've just got the soap on there, so I was holding it down. So the range of reds, the darker the red, the less fluoride there is in the water. Okay. Yeah, you can all see that nice and clearly. Yeah.
So you put some sort of chemical to highlight the fluoride, so you can see the concentration.
Yeah. So we bought some photometer analysis equipment. So each chemical you're looking for has a different reagent. So with this one, it's an acidifying, and then the other chemical agent to create the red color, and that shows up, the darker red where there's least fluoride. And so with the previous experiment, where there was chlorine, it showed up yellow. Yeah. So what we've got here is the darker reds we have is distilled water, because obviously there's not going to be any chemicals in there. And then I did a mixture of the black shungite and the elite shungite. That's that one there. Then we have the toggle. Then we have a 15-stage filter and the tap water. So just show you again there. So very, very different color. You can clearly see with your eyes. Obviously, all those results can be run through the photometer as well to show you the numbers. But actually, when you can see it with your eyes, it says a lot. And because we wanted to check that when you're having your shower and you've got your shungite stones in the shower, that you are getting the beneficial effects, even though the water is literally running over the stones momentarily. You see? So I think we've kind of proved that quite well. So one of the questions that we often get are about the stones. Should you use the elite ones? Should you use the black ones? And so what we've found is that both are effective. One is slightly faster than the other one, but ultimately they both are doing a fantastic job, and they're both doing it instantly. And we're finding that with the toggle as well. The water is also, the surface tension is changed as well. So we're going to do some other experiments live on air in a moment with that. Yep.
Like a science lesson.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Any questions there on the chemicals? What do you reckon?
I was just going to say quickly
Yeah.
about the stones themselves and the toggles and so on. I take it nothing is actually being drained or taken from the shungite itself, i.e., is there a sort of best before use by aspect to
No.
any of this?
You know, that's a really great question because so normally with your carbon filters, they're going to be absorbing the impurities, which is why you have to replace them. And so what we're showing here is if we go back to that, what we're showing you with the toggle is the shungite isn't even touching the water. So how can it absorb the chemicals? Yeah. So it really is showing that there is an energy coming out of the shungite that is changing the structure of those chemicals fundamentally. And then as that energy, so what we've captured here in the darker yellow samples is as that energy has slowed down over that from the 5 day mark, then it looks like the chlorine chemicals have slowly found their bonds again and come back into the chlorine chemical. Yeah. So it makes
That's
sense
interesting.
now.
So there's no at no time. Say you bought a range of them and put them in different parts of your house or on bottles and so on.
Yeah.
I mean, this may not be the best advert for you, Cassie, because it works too well almost. But there's no time when, in essence, the sort of the magic of the shungite itself gets used up. It's just perennial.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
And that's one of the things that we often come across is that other resellers will tell people they have to replace their shungite. And whether that's to get a second sale maybe in a few months' time. Yeah. Now, if they really understood what shungite was doing, like we do, we couldn't possibly do that because actually it's far more magical than a second sale of buying more shungite. So, that's how
Well, and the
important.
truth of the matter is, people will. This is when people become advocates, and when your sales come from other channels, because you are being honest, open, and true to the shungite itself. So
Exactly, yeah. Ultimately, that's the plan. Shungite is here to change our lives at a very, very fundamental level, and this is what we're the advocate for. Yeah. So yeah, there's no cleansing that needs to be done to those stones unless they're sat in a sunny position. They're going to get some algae growth on them, so just brush them off with a toothbrush or something. But ultimately, what you've got is you've got each stone. If we hold one up here, each stone is like a doorway to the quantum field. So we've mentioned this in previous videos, but so the energy is perturbing the ether so much that it's affecting us on this side of the doorway. Yeah, and that's why you don't. It's an. I've got it as I've got it. Let me just flick through to Nancy. Oh, I didn't capture her. Oh, here we are. This is what Nancy is saying. With 60 atoms sitting in an atomic vacuum environment, the quantum field door is opened and then shut, causing proto-energy to pulse into the C60 structure, spinning the molecule at 20 billion times a second. That spinning causes the field of extreme stability and force to exist. And so what she's talking about is there's nothing that you could do to that quantum field to either deplete it or to recharge it. Yes, yeah. You literally have these portals to the quantum field, which is what's adding the energy into the ether perturbation into our field. So,
I mean, I've got to say, 20 billion times a second is pretty fast.
Well, I do have someone else quoting that's the fastest thing scientists have ever measured.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is. It is. So if you think about that, your body is 99% water. So, you want the water to be the best that it can be and to affect you in the way that it needs to affect you. So moving on, let's have a look at what I've got in front of me. So we've done the fluoride and the chlorine, we've covered that. So surface tension. Surface tension and water is very important. It's about it's called Keeler, kinetic electric effect. I first researched that, and shungite came up as one of the the ways to make kinetic electric water. And it's about surface tension. When you've got lowered surface tension, you're actually going to hydrate properly because the water molecules are going to be able to slip inside your cell walls to actually do the ion exchange and take the crud out of your cells. And obviously that's super important because most tap water is that full of just stuff your cells just won't even take it on board. And so often I heard if an ambulance is needed to be called, a saline drip is often the first thing that they'll call for because we're chronically dehydrated. So let's look at
blue now.
So we've got some blue water. So what I've done is I've put some 3 drops of methylene blue into my tap water sample there, and the 3 drops of methylene blue into my Shungite sample there. Now, when you're looking for surface tension, it's about swilling the water so that you can see what water is captured on the side of the glass. But as you can see, it's not showing it off very well in these glasses. So what I've done, I've got some paper cups. So we're going to pour the blue water. We've got Shungite and tap water. There we go, into these. Right. Then I'm going to give them a swill. So it's in there, blue water swilling around. Okay, and then I'm going to pour them out. Can you see there's a difference between the cups?
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for less blue because it means all the water has stayed in one lump.
It almost looks like the one that was just a standard water has a sad face in there, made of blue. I think that's a wonderful piece of.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Shungite's always trying to tell us. Water is always trying to tell us something. So what we're looking at is when you've got lowered surface tension, all of the water stays in a bulk. It doesn't leave any bits behind. Yeah. So that's where. So that was with the Shungite water that was kind of stones soaked overnight. So we're going to do it another time here. So I've got 4 cups here. So this is just with the sticker. So ultimately the Shungite powder on the outside of this one and the tap water here. Tap water, Shungite water. So as you can see, I've made these ones a little bit darker. Just give them a shake. I'm going to pour them out. Shook them about the same. And let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a difference?
Slightly, yeah. Although I have to confess, I can't see brilliantly.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. But so what we're looking, yeah. So the tap water. There we go. Tap water.
Right. Yeah.
And Shungite water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is a difference there. I mean, just to pick up quickly on this, Cassie, a lot of things I've been listening to recently have been talking about exactly that. This massive lack of people just not having it able to take on enough liquid and retain it in the way that the body needs. Hence, talking about things like eating. So supplementing your water intake with sort of, I suppose, wet fruits, whether that be grapes or strawberries or other fruits that contain a lot of water but release differently in the body. I think it's really interesting that you're touching on that area of hydration.
Yeah, it's because those are called easy water. They're a structured water in the fruits and vegetables and in that regard, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We're structuring the water. So I've got a slide on that. Let's move on. Here we are. Oh no, let's come structuring water. Oh no, okay, right. Structuring water is when you're changing that frequency so that it can hold information. So ultimately, when the water is going through your pipes at a right angle, it destructures. And through all the water purifying processes and the number of bodies that it's been through. If you live in a city.
Yeah.
So
Right.
and all the other chemicals in the water. So yeah, it's full of stuff. And if you're distilling water, so we have a picture here of a distiller.
Mm.
When you're distilling water, all of that stuff is left in the distiller. Now, some of that stuff is useful to the body, and some of it isn't. And so, what the shungite is able to do is an ion exchange with the cells. So it can pull out the stuff that's been clogging up, and it can leave in the minerals that we need. Now, part of that structuring is with the toggle on the outside, as you can see in this picture. The crud in the distiller created a perfect hexagon. And when we look at the fullerene molecule, it's full of hexagons and pentagons. So, as I said earlier, the shungite, or the water, is always trying to talk to us and tell us and show us. This is a lovely example of shungite water being structured before it's even been through a distiller. So we know that it's doing a very powerful job. So one of the other things that people want to know is how long you should leave the stones with the water. And so what we find is the longer you leave the toggle or the stones in the water or near the water, the sweeter tasting the water gets, and the more kind of healing it gets as well, the more energized it gets. So if you're very sensitive to energy, you might find that water will keep you awake at night. So I tend to decant my water away from the shungite. And then I'll drink that in the nighttime because it's not going to keep me awake, or I can take it from the tap with the toggle on and it's not over energized. But at least I know it's been cleansed frequently from frequency, and of the chemicals have been dealt with. And just for example, I gave my hair a wash today, ready for my Zoom talk with you guys. And because I'm using the shungite, I hardly had to use any conditioner. And so it changes how it cleans as well. Another lady said when she put the toggle on her tap, all of the bubbles in her washing up, even though she dilutes her washing up liquid and she only used a tiny bit, that it's much more frothy because you're lowering the surface tension as well. So you're getting a deeper clean, and all of your kind of cleaning agents are just doing such a better job. So bathing in shungite water, obviously very, very powerful, especially with those bath salts. How are you finding them?
Yes, I might have to order another packet soon. But because it's supposed to be summer, obviously, and then I leave off the baths, but it's been freezing half the time, so I'm like,
get a nice warm bath. Yeah. So I'll just
Cassie, can I just ask quickly, in terms of cleaning your clothes? So, for example, I don't know if it's feasible even to put the toggle actually on the front of the washing machine, perhaps, or certainly you could put it nearby, or there's other ways of doing this. But in terms of people's clothes, because we have a terrible issue with hard water where we are, and I think a lot of people in the southeast of England do. I'm not certain how this relates to the rest of the world. I'm sure there are other areas, but are there ways of you've mentioned using this in terms of cleaning for maybe plates and glasses and so on. But in terms of clothing, is there a good way that you've found or seen this being used?
Yeah, absolutely. You can just put one of our stickers on the water in pipe coming into the machine, and all of the suds were much bigger, and getting a bigger clean. So that's one way of doing it. You could tie the toggle around the outside, or a sticker does the same job. So
great.
Okay.
Lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the healing testimonials are to do with water. We had a gentleman with the 2 brain tumors, one behind each eye, and his radiation dose got doubled by mistake. Now we only had the black shungite, so the dusty black shungite there, and so we gave that to him, and his liver and kidney function came back to normal immediately. Now, normally, according to the shungite medical books we've got, without shungite it takes 2 to 3 months to come back to normal, and with shungite it should take 2 to 3 weeks to come back to normal. But somehow shungite seemed to have stepped up to be able to make his liver and kidney function register completely normal straight away. So that's one of the things that people say, should you use Elite? Someone will say Elite's better. Now, in that case, that kind of just saved his life because his liver and kidney function were normal. Now, there's another paper, we've got it on the resource page on our website, that states that they're using shungite to cleanse the strontium and cesium from Fukushima radioactive water. So if it's able to do that, it's able to do anything we need it to, in my opinion. Yeah. So what else can we cover with the water? Let's have a look here. Let me just go through here. So this, on our testimonials page, we've got Zoe. Now, she had a strep throat infection for months, and she had been to the doctor several times. Nothing was clearing it. The toggles arrived on the Friday night. She put them around her water. She drank the water. The next day, the infection was completely gone. So we're talking about antiviral, fungal, antibacterial effects, instantly. That's the action that it's doing, or that's the result that you get from it just putting everything back right. Other people have said that they don't get the acid reflux as well. Yeah. Did you have a question?
Or actually, if it's acting on things like parasites and other of these bodies, that there's a lot of talk about us being pretty much filled with these variety of things. And it would be a wonderful thing if that sort of action is also occurring as part of this sort of cleansing.
Yeah, I can't really speak to that because I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But we have got a list at the back. We'll just cover that. But yeah, people certainly find that they're looking better, their skin's better, their hair, where it was grey, is now going a yellow, silver, with the colour coming back. People are telling us that their hair's growing back. So it does what it needs to do. Whereas if you're going to just go down the distilled water route, that's going to take all of the minerals out of your cells and leave you depleted. And that's according to Dr. McCullough. He did a study where he studied 300 people drinking distilled water, found they were all mineral deficient because the distilled water is pulling the minerals, and the body reacts to protect the bones by creating an acidic layer around the bones, as far as I remember. Anyway, I've got it in my book that's coming out.
This is going to cut off now, I think.
That's another show.
Yeah.
So we're kind of coming to the end, I guess, because we've run out of time.
Well,
it's such a big topic to cover, but ultimately I hope this has been helpful. And we've got lots of resources on the website, and all of these pictures are going to get added there as well.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Thank you, Cassie.
You're welcome.
Time.
Yeah, happy drinking. Drink your water.
That was excellent. Yeah, thank you.